So one of the most frustrating things with action cameras is the fact that they look too sharp sometimes. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to add motion blur to your action cam videos. Okay, so I have my footage in Insta360 Studio. Now, for any of you watching this and you use Insta360 Studio, you'll know, or you may not be aware, but you can't actually add camera distortion to your footage. You can adjust the field of view, you can do all sorts of stuff like this, but you can't actually add distortion or like a fisheye or motion blur to your footage. You have to do it in some other piece of software. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to demonstrate now. I'm going to grab a small portion of my video, like a 15-second clip, and what I'm going to do is, I'm going to export this as a 360 file. So I'm going to click here, Start Export. I am then going to click here, Export 360 Video. I'm going to bump the bitrate right up just to keep the quality as high as possible. And I'm going to click Start Export. And while that is exporting, we wait. And then when it's done, I'll show you the next step of the process. Okay, so here's my 360 footage. You'll see it looks very strange right now, but we're going to edit this in GoPro Player. So what we're going to do is we're going to open GoPro Player. We're going to open media, and I'm going to open that 360 file in GoPro Player, and you'll see here, if I scrub through the timeline, this is our footage. So let's show you how we add that motion blur or fisheye to your footage. So I'm just going to say, for instance, we're going to use this bit of footage on social media. So I'm going to straight away put a keyframe at the start, and I'm going to change the aspect ratio to 9:16. I'm going to just select where I want my first frame to be, and I'm going to mark a keyframe, and then I'm going to click this pencil icon here again, and we can add what's called lens correction. Okay, and if we go less, you'll see it like bubbles one way, and if we go the other way, we get this cool distorted look. And I usually go no more than 50. Any more than 50, it starts to look like quite crazy and unrealistic. But you know, you can have a play around with this and see what you think. But let's just go for 50. Okay. And then what we want to do, we want to go to add our keyframe. So we're going to play through the clip. I'm going to just reframe a little bit before we go off the jump. We turn there when we land. We'll zoom out a little bit. And this is quite like particular. You can get really, really custom with this. So let's have a look at our footage. I'm going to play through this now and show you what it looks like. So it's kind of cool. Now what we can do as well is, what I like to do is I like to click here and just change the easing option on the transition, and I always apply to all and ease both. That just makes it a little bit smoother on the transitions between each keyframe. I'll show you. So a little bit more natural feel to things, and it's not as linear. And one thing we can also do here is we can actually add motion blur here. So there's a motion blur tab, and we can actually add motion blur to our transitions. And this is quite severe, so you probably want to play around with the going small first. Oh, that's done some real weird playback. Let's figure that out. Not sure why it did that. Go motion blur. Okay, so it's adding motion blur, but it's just changing the aspect ratio a little bit, which is a bit strange. So we'll leave that for now, but you get the idea. It's already started to look a little bit more realistic in a sense, because we've got that speed element coming through in our footage. Now, you may not want that, but this is perfect for action sports. Don't overdo it though, because it will start to look a little bit too edited. But if we go and change the aspect ratio to 16:9 here, Now let's try and add motion blur to this. Let's add maybe 30. Update all. Let's play this and see. Right, you can see as the transition happens between the keyframe, you'll see the motion blur. It's lagging a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to export this. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So if we click export as, or you can just click export actually. Advanced options, let's upscale it to 4K. We'll put the bitrate max and we'll go H.264 and we'll click next and we'll save that, replace it, and then once this is saved, we'll have a look at it. I think it just struggles a little bit on this computer when there's so much going on in the background and I'm recording this video. It's just so much data for the GoPro player to deal with. Whereas that's what's good about Insta360 Studio actually, that I never experienced any kind of lag in there at all. It's really, really smooth. It's really easy to edit. Okay, so it's now saved. So let's have a watch of our clip. Okay, see if we can see the difference. So you can see the motion blur a little bit, which is kind of nice. And that is it. That is how I add motion blur and a little bit of fisheye effect to my footage, just to bring the speed out in my footage. Because sometimes, with, like I said, with action cameras, I think it's a little bit too sharp and a little bit too flat and straight. I'm trying to make immersive videos. So if you are into making immersive videos, give this a try. Let me know how it goes, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.